You went with quarterback Jordan Love. So talk to me about why Jordan Love is your bounce back candidate here for the Packers.
Look, down the stretch in 2023, he was a top 5 quarterback in football. That's how well he played into that playoff run, beating Dallas in the playoffs and then eventually losing to San Francisco. But when you look at the second half of 2023, it looked like he was on the road to superstardom, right? And then last year, it was a big step back. You see the 74.3 passing grades, a drop off, 3.4% big time throw rate for a guy with his arm talent, his ability. That's actually pretty low and too close to his turnover worthy play rate. And then that last number is the one. I know I've been harping on it for months on end, but getting Matthew Golden in as a deep threat not only helps them deep down the field, but it gets safeties out of the intermediate windows where Love was so successful in that hot stretch in 2023. I think that is what they were missing, the vertical threat that Matthew Golden gives them, that Christian Watson was supposed to give him anytime he was healthy, which wasn't very often. I think all of a sudden this offense gets opened up and they can play the balance of manipulating safeties, manipulating defenses, because you've got Josh Jacobs in the run game. He's going to be really good. He was amazing last year, right? Golden now to take the top off is a different level than what you had in the passing game last year when the windows were just too tight. You could feel secondaries creeping in because nobody was a threat over the top, right? And then you had guys dropping balls and struggling to beat man coverage. So I think there is just a level when you're looking for the optimism with Jordan Love, and he did. There were times when he struggled last year, and he was forcing passes and getting back into some of his old habits that he struggled with in the first half of 2023, right? I think you're talking about a guy who's in the right situation to succeed. He now has to just make the right throws and trust his read and get the ball to the right windows of the defense.
I just wonder how much faith he had in his receiver room that was largely inconsistent outside of Jaden Reed. I agree with you completely about Matthew Golden. We talked about this being one of our favorite landing spots of any player in the 2025 NFL draft because of what his skill set could mean to Green Bay and, by proxy, a bounce back from Jordan Love being a little bit more efficient yet remaining explosive. I think it's a major candidate for this has to be Dontavian Wicks as well. Because, we're expecting Matthew Golden to come in and play right away and play really well, but he's still a rookie, and that's never a guarantee. So with Christian Watson out, you have Romeo Doubs, but he's got his concussion history. Dontavian Wicks has to play for this team. He has to play significant snaps, at least in the first half of the season, and he has to be a lot more reliable than he was last year. 9 drops from him, a 29.0 drop grade, 18% drop percentage last season. I mean, that is just nowhere near good enough to not just be a relied upon wide receiver, to even get on the field. You can't be dropping the ball 18% of the time on 18% of your targets and receptions. I mean, it's nowhere near where it needs to be. And it was not that bad the previous season. He only had 2 drops. He only had, I believe it was a 4.7 drop percentage the year before. And so he has to be much better. A true bounce back candidate year for him. He's got to be able to hold on to the football. And then the other one that I'd throw in there is just Jair Alexander. Not that he plays bad. He's just got to play more, right? He's got to bounce back to being fully healthy, right? It's kind of that J.C. Horn we talked about a little bit earlier. Now, J.C. played over 1,000 snaps last season, but Jair Alexander hasn't played over 1,000 snaps in 4 years, 5 years. I can't remember exactly what last year that was where he was able to play that full schedule, but they got to get close to that with him because they're going to need him in that secondary, there's no doubt.